Let's not dick around. Jam, let's talk about the Killzone 2 demo.
So what is Killzone? I didn't play the first one. What is it?
What is Killzone? Jam, you can definitely articulate it better than me.
Killzone is a first-person shooter for the PlayStation 3. And,
I could have said that.
Yeah, well, as Penny Arcade put it very well, it's basically Moses taking them to the promised land for the PlayStation 3. A lot of hopes have been pinned on this in terms of actually attracting people to buy the PS3 and in terms of it being a big tentpole release. At the very
And the weird fanboy hype is ridiculous for this. Like, it's, for some reason, just enormously twisted. Like, there are some of the weirdest people out there just going nuts over this thing. And
well, should we talk about the thing itself and see
Sure.
what it is and also what it isn't? Assuming that this game is going to play like another game that I've already played, which is similar, is just completely stupid. I should play this from a fresh look. And I actually discovered that it's actually a very rewarding game once you take that approach. It has a few things that are different from Call of Duty 4. It sort of does a couple of things that it flips them around, like it has a cover system. And so crouching, you have to sort of hold down a button in order to keep
have
crouching.
to hold down L2, which is one of those
L2,
trigger buttons.
which is the most uncomfortable thing ever. I need my finger to be stronger in order to keep holding that down because the spring on that thing is really strong.
It's like your pinky for Guitar Hero. You got to strengthen it up.
Yeah, exactly. So you do that, and it has a pretty good cover system for considering it's a first-person shooter. Because I mean, you just run up to some cover and you hold the L2 button, and that both ducks you and latches you onto the cover, so you can move around against the wall. And if you move to the edge, you can sort of lean around the corner and shoot at people. And you'll never, it sort of glues you on. You'll never sort of come away from that. So that works pretty well. And the aiming down the sight, rather than being effectively the L2 button, as it is on the 360, the equivalent button on the trigger, is you click the analog stick. And it's a sort of like a toggle thing. So it kind of does that the opposite way around to Call of Duty, where in Call of Duty you toggle crouching and you hold aiming. In this, you toggle aiming and you hold crouching.
Now, to be fair, you can change the controls to a more Call of Duty 4 layout.
You can, but one thing I noticed is that crouch is always L2. I tried so hard to change that because L2 is a very uncomfortable button for me, but that always happens. So, but I just decided to just get used to the default controls. And yeah, so I think once I actually did that, I actually really enjoyed it a lot more. It's a lot more, well, actually, the pacing is actually quite similar to Call of Duty. You have stuff going on all around you, and you have fronts that keep moving, and you have enemies that burst out of doors and stuff like that. But the way you have to conduct yourself is very different because, for a start, the weapons are accurate enough that if you're just behind cover and you shoot at people in bursts rather than just rattling off your entire magazine at once, it's actually not necessary to go into the iron sights, which is good because the iron sights don't feel quite as precise as in Call of Duty. They're good for popping one guy's head off, but if you're just shooting at a bunch of people who you can see behind cover, it's actually not really necessary if you're just careful and monitor the number of bullets that you're firing at once. So that works pretty well. And the scripting is pretty much what you expect. As I said, people are bursting out of doors, and then you and one other guy have to run off and sneak round the back of somewhere, which is a thought which in the demo is kind of unfinished because it doesn't. You just sort of fight your way through a warehouse and then nothing happens. But it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot. Although one thing I did notice is that I kept hearing from people that they felt that the weapons were very satisfying to fire, and they felt that they felt good. And I just wasn't picking that up. It's like, well, these weapons feel like kind of nothing. And I was really confused about what it is. And suddenly, last night, I suddenly figured out what it is. And you know what it was? It's the fact that I'm using a 6-axis. And there's no feedback. No, there's no rumble. Because for example, in Gears, the Lancer, if you're just firing it, it sounds like someone's teeth chattering. It's not exactly a meaty gun if you don't have a big sound system like me. But because you have the feedback from the controller, it makes it feel like you're really shooting a gun, well, to a certain extent anyway. But with the 6-axis, it doesn't. So if and when I get Killzone, I played through the demo a couple of times, and I did enjoy it quite a lot, so I will probably be picking it up fairly closely. I'm going to probably try and track down a DualShock 3 because I think I really need it for this game.
It's surprising, hey, how much difference it makes, just the little vibration, hey?
Yeah, I know. I mean, and I've managed to do without it for games like MotorStorm, which I imagine it's probably very, very useful for. But for some reason, just first-person shooters, if they feel floaty and if the guns feel like nothing, then really detracts from the feel of the game, and so I think it's a very important part from it. So that said, I could tell that the game has a lot of qualities. It does take a little bit getting used to if you go into it with the mindset of this will be like Call of Duty, because it really isn't. But I think it's something of its in and of itself. It looks fantastic. I mean, that's something I think that is undisputable. It's one of the best games I've seen in a long time.
I'd like to touch on that as well. It does look incredible. It sounds extra incredible. Jam, you still are not playing with great speakers, right?
No, I'm playing with my shitty little TV speakers, which is why the guns didn't feel very good. Because I mean, I didn't have force feedback on my mouse for my computer, but I have a subwoofer for my computer, and so
force feedback on your hands.
On your hands,
yeah.
Or not hands or ears.
Yeah.
I did notice that the lack of force feedback. When Jam mentioned it, he said, force feedback really makes a difference, and I wish that I had a DualShock. I wish I had one too, because that is what is missing to me. There's a few things about the game the demo at least, that I didn't like, and a bunch of things that I really did like. Overall, I'd have to say I really loved the demo. Loved it quite a bit. Can't wait for the actual game. It's cool. Looks good. Just looks fabulous, actually. I played with no HUD.
Oh,
a lot of
cool.
people were saying that you should try that. And it makes the experience a little bit better because you have no HUD whatsoever, and you can concentrate on everything that's going around you.
That's the new thing. It's the new hotness. The no HUD system.
Yeah, thanks Dead Space.
Yeah.
Whatever. But it's cool to do. But the surround
getaway?
sound in particular is just ridiculous. And I went ahead and I changed my language to German, just for fun. And the Hellghasts speak in German. They yell at each other in German. And that's a nice
awesome.
touch. But the game's really cool. It does feel pretty visceral. Did you ever shoot off anyone's helmet, Jam? Because I did.
Oh yeah, loads of times. That happens the whole time.
I was pretty horrified to see bald skin. For some reason, they're bald
But
heads.
you were expecting them to be inhuman enough to have no head?
Yeah, it's kind of like how you think about the Combine from Halo or Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
You don't think of them as not being human under there, but they aren't at all. Anyway, the game felt real good. Almost all the problems I have with the demo is that it didn't feel good on the PS3 controller, and I would have much preferred it on a different controller.
Yeah, different layout or something a little more ergonomic.
I think I'm going to play through it a couple more times because it is a really good demo, and I feel that every time I'm going to do it, because I'm going to get used to the way that the controller feels in my hands, it's going to get better. Because another thing that I was kind of having trouble with was just the aiming sensitivity, so I think I need to tweak that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely give that a tweak.
Now, can I take a step back? I didn't play the first Killzone. If I'm coming into this, am I missing out on something?
I do not know. You shouldn't bother playing the first one.
One of my friends played it and he enjoyed it, but the word is in general that it's not very good.
Okay.
I bought it for $10 and I felt ripped off.
So. And explain to me, just give me a little taste. Space Nazis, what is Killzone? Because just from the name, I know you shoot things and kill them. Give me a little flavor of what I'm getting into with this game. I know is that you're attacking their planet because in the first one they attacked yours. That's all I know.
Yeah.
And it's set in the future, obviously.
Their leader is General Visari, who is voiced by Brian Cox, and therefore awesome.
Why? Who's that?
Who's that?
Brian Cox. He's a pretty well-known actor over here, at least, but he's William Stryker in the X-Men films. That's probably what you know him from.
Oh, cool.
Big guy, and he's got a very big, booming voice. I think you might know it if you hear it, but he's exceptionally good as a voice actor. Almost up there with Stephen Fry.
Well, Stephen Fry sucks, but that's just my opinion. Another thing I do want to mention is the AI in this game is really cool and a little bit different than most AI. You normally are used to pinning down the enemy, but in this case, the enemy somehow manages to pin you down quite a bit and make it really hard because they continue to advance, and based on where you are, they have different tactics. They don't stick their head out in the exact same spot every time, which we see a lot of in Gears.
You just wait, you just hold your target right on top of them.
Exactly, because you know they'll pop back in the same spot. So this is doing some good things with the AI and how it behaves. Remains to be seen in the rest of the game if it still holds up that well, but I have no reason to believe that it won't. Should be really cool. So it is fun to approach situations a little bit differently based on what you did last time, so you can see the demo play out kind of in a different way, if you know what I mean. So
Sweet.
I'm not canceling my pre-order. It's cool.
It sounds like Killzone's got a great demo, except and they just got to make it accessible to more people, right? Not just the people that pre-ordered.
So anyway, there you have it.
Awesome.
You don't even have a PS3, so
I'm working on it.